Why doesn't it hurt when we cut our nails? This question came up on Iber Answers, Elda. I looked into it and found it so interesting that we decided to make a separate video about it, plus a few extra things. We're even going to try melting a nail at the end. Stick around, it's going to be really cool. But first, what are nails actually for? Why do we have something hard at the tips of our fingers? First of all, because our fingers are extremely important for everything we do in daily life. We use them to pick things up, and back when humans lived in the wild, they were useful for hunting, defense, grabbing objects, and so on. The nail protects the tip of the finger. It's like a small piece of armor at the end of our fingers, keeping them from getting hurt. But that's not all. When I was a kid, my father used to say that tools are often inspired by the human body. For example, pliers gripping objects mimic the movement of our hands. A hammer is sort of like a punch, and cutting pliers are roughly equivalent to our teeth. So what tool is a fingernail similar to? The first thing that comes to mind is a screwdriver. Because with your fingernail, you can pry things open and handle small objects. But it can also work like tweezers, since we can pick up tiny things with it. You can even use a fingernail to pull out a hair. And since fingernails can scrape, they can act like a chisel to remove small pieces of material, or like a spatula to scrape off a layer of paint, for example. And in early human history, and sometimes even today, fingernails can actually be used as weapons. They may seem harmless, but anyone who's gotten a deep scratch knows how much it can hurt. But let's think about practical, everyday uses we still have today. Peeling off a sticker is something you can usually only do if you have fingernails. When opening a keychain to add a key, we often use our fingernails, just like when trying to remove something stuck between our teeth. Of course, the proper way would be to use dental floss or a toothpick. But when you need to improvise, you end up using your fingernail to remove that piece of lettuce. So what is a fingernail made of? Is it a transparent bone? No, it's made of a fibrous protein, nature's wild card, called keratin. In our own bodies, many other things are also made of keratin. All of our body hair and the hair on our heads are keratin, for example. They're structured a bit differently, but essentially made of the same material as nails. If we look at birds, it's even more interesting. Besides their claws, their beaks and feathers are also made of keratin. In a cow, you have hair, hooves, and horns, all made of keratin. The scales of snakes and lizards, what are they made of? That's right, keratin. So, this protein isn't just useful in the daily lives of many animals. It's also what gives them their appearance. Not just humans, right? Hair, fur, nails. But also the appearance of many other animals. What would a peacock be without feathers? Or a bull without fur or horns? So the first thing I wanted to do was look at a nail under the microscope. Keratin forms layers and fibers that might be really interesting to observe. Since I've been wanting to make this video for a while, I started collecting the nails I cut. Yeah, it's kind of gross, but I had to save them for the video, right? If my nails were short like they are now, there would be nothing to see under the microscope. At maximum zoom, it looks like a mountain range. You can clearly see the nail's structure. What does it look like up close, right? It has several layers, almost like scales. It's kind of strange to look at. It looks like the surface of an alien planet. I didn't even look at the inside of the nail. Maybe it's even worse than the outside. Look at this. It has several streaks. It looks like those fiber cement roof tiles you see on houses. You know, the wavy ones. It's wild to think this is part of our body and we never get to see it. And now I have a great story to tell. First, think about this nail's hair and fur are basically made of the same material. There are some differences, but it's essentially the same thing. There's a depilatory cream you apply to hair that softens it. It almost melts it. After that, you can wipe it off as if the hair had rotted away. When I was a kid, there was Gugu's TV show. It had lots of commercial breaks. And I remember him doing an ad for a depilatory cream. I searched YouTube to see if anyone had talked about this story, but found nothing. So I decided to share it here on Manual do Mundo. Fernando, who works with me, also remembered the story. Anyway, Gugu was advertising this cream. At one point, he went to apply the cream on someone to show how fast it worked. He rubbed a bit of the cream on his own hand and then applied it. I don't remember exactly, on someone's leg that had hair. What I do remember is that since the cream softens hair and he wasn't wearing gloves, some of it got on his nail, and his nail softened too. The nail became rubbery. It completely lost its function as a nail, this wonderful tool, and I wanted to test it today. So let's do it. Before anything else, I want to test the depilatory cream itself. You spread it over the hair, and theoretically, the hair comes off after 5 minutes. It doesn't say on the packaging that you need to wear gloves, okay? So let's apply a generous layer to the skin. I'll try not to touch my nail. I'll do it under my arm, because if the hair disappears there, no one will really notice, right? But it's still gonna look weird. My arm, oh my god, maybe I overdid it with the amount. But it's all for the sake of the video. It's 5 to 11 in the morning. Actually 4 to 11, so 11:01 now. That means I can remove it. This is easier than using waxing strips, right? The downside is that it doesn't remove hair from the root. It only removes the top part like a razor, but without a blade. 5 minutes are up. It says here to use a spatula to remove it. In this case, I've got this construction spatula, but maybe something lighter would be better, right? This works too. Oh my goodness. Look at this. It's completely shaved. It's not perfectly smooth. I can still see a few hairs, but look at it. I know people are going to comment on it. It's coming off because of the knife. No, it's not. I'll run the knife on my other arm now, just so you understand. It doesn't remove hair. This isn't a razor that cleans the skin. It's a knife for cutting wood and similar things. It's not meant to cut hair. It removes nothing on its own. But here, the hair really was removed. Comparing one arm to the other, it's completely gone on this side. This is going to look terrible. I have no idea what I'm going to do about it. If the keratin in the hair melted, it was broken down here. And if this cream can affect the structure of keratin, then something similar should happen to the nail as well. So let's put a little of this cream on top of this beautiful collection of nails I brought. Mix it around and see whether the nail softens or not. While that's happening, let's take a look at a beard hair. Jansen, our cameraman, kindly donated a part of his body, a bit of his beard. You really don't want to see what he looks like without that beard. It's terrible. Let's see if it has scales like a fingernail. Look at that. That's Jansen's beard. It looks kind of scaly too. Jansen, I told you, there are some really ugly scales here, see? Let's zoom all the way in and take a look at them. This structure is very similar to a fingernail, kind of alien looking. It resembles cracked ground, but it seems a bit smoother than a fingernail. We went to have lunch and I left this here. Now I need to rinse it off because it's all sticky, but it looks promising. There's good news and bad news. As tradition dictates, I'll start with the bad news. It's not easy to show on camera, but the good news is that the nail turned kind of like cooked rice. It became extremely soft. Everything is rubbery. It feels like little pieces of cut silicone. Let me try to show you. I'll switch to the camera. This looks like cooked pasta, almost like a small piece of skin. It's super flexible, really, really soft. Imagine if this nail were still attached to someone's finger. It would have completely lost its function as a nail. Honestly, I don't even know if the story I remember actually happened. But from this experiment, we know that it's possible. We studied nails in every possible way, and we still haven't answered the main question, why don't we feel anything when we cut them? Pretty cool, right? Because we don't feel our hair either. A horse doesn't feel it when you put a horseshoe on either. That's because nothing there is alive anymore. Not in nails, hair, or hooves. They're produced inside our bodies. The place where keratin forms is under the skin, so we can't see where the nail comes from. Yes, it's alive down there, but once the nail grows out, it's dead. There are no nerve endings anymore. No sensors to feel anything. No blood flow. It's just protein. In fact, if nails did have nerve endings, if we felt them intensely, they wouldn't be as useful as they are. If you tried to scrape something, the tip of your nail would hurt. and you wouldn't be able to use it. Who would have thought we could learn so much from such a simple question? I think Manuel do Mundo deserves a thumbs up or a subscription if you haven't done that yet. Don't you agree? I started saving small nail clippings and remembered that many people try to make the perfect nail ball, but I have no idea how to stick them together. I thought this cream might let me make some kind of nail dough, but clearly that doesn't work. It just softens the nail, LD. If you have ideas that don't involve putting resin in the middle, because that would be too easy, leave them in the comments, okay? If you're enjoying this story about hair, nails, and related things, we once made the perfect ball of cow hair that the cow regurgitates. It sounds strange at first, but the video is actually really cool.